Good positive. How's it going, everybody? Got for you guys today a really good Yu battle. Although it is a little bit lengthy, I believe this battle was actually like 54 turns, but trust me, it definitely came down to the wire. And I want to go ahead and say thank you to everybody for showing the previous post-narrated showdown battle. Such great support. A lot of people really seem to enjoy it, and I really do want to keep these coming because I do from time to time tend to have good battles on showdown, like this one as I mentioned. But if you guys did miss that previous showdown narrated battle, sorry, I'll leave a link to that down in the description, as well as my upload. My previous upload for some of you who might have missed it, so you guys can go check out both those videos if you have not seen them. Now, hopefully you guys do enjoy this one as much as you enjoyed the previous two post-narrated showdown battles. And actually, I kind of want to address something. I have people commenting saying, "Oh, Leo, please don't pause the video in the middle of it." But the reason why I do that is because I have a lot to say in that short little instance, and I know if I keep the battle going that I'll probably struggle trying to catch up. Although I guess I could slow it down, like the slowest that it can possibly be slowed down on showdown, but I really don't want to do that. I feel that's just a little bit, I want to say too much of a hassle, but I feel that it would be a lot better to just pause it and then just play it again. So that's why I kind of pause it in certain areas of the battle to get out my full thought process of what's happening in that turn or in that couple of turns. Already a minute and 30 seconds in. Sorry about that, guys. But look at that team preview. The biggest threat I saw on my opponent's team was easily going to be that Victini, just because if it does turn out to be choice banded with me having physical defensive Mega Blastoise and not having that leftover recovery, Victini can easily come in, click V-Crate, and get off a lot of damage on something on my team, or possibly one hit or two hit KO, whatever I switch into it. So I really have to watch out for the Victini. Also, if I lose my Florges, Hydreigon and Galvantula are going to be two more threats that I'm going to have to watch out for, because nothing on my team appreciates switching into any of their stab moves. But looking at his team, I actually noticed that Donphan was the one thing stopping my Toxicroak from possibly just sweeping through his entire team after getting up a Sword Dance, which I should be able to easily do on the Milotic, unless he turns out to be offensive with Hidden Power Ground, which I have seen a couple of those, but they are very rare. So I knew that as soon as I get rid of Donphan and got off a little bit of damage on his team and broke the potential Focus Sash on his Galvantula, that Toxicroak was definitely going to be my way of winning this battle. So with that being said, let's get it started. So I'm going to be leading off with my Victini, expecting him to actually lead off with the Donphan, and I'm going to go straight for the U-turn as I bring in my Hydreigon. He's going to go straight for the Stealth Rocks, which was the safe and best play that he could have done, although I was kind of thinking he maybe wanted to go for the Earthquake. And the reason why the first couple of turns are going to be sped up is because they're kind of repetitive. I'm going to U-turn out into my Toxicroak, and then I'm going to go for the Gunk Shot, thinking that he would switch into the Donphan and hoping that I could get the 30% poison chance to be able to deal with it a little bit easier as I bring in my Hydreigon. I was kind of fearing the fact that he could go for the Ice Shard. Thankfully, though, he did make the safe play, which was the Earthquake, as I then go for the Draco Meteor on the incoming Milotic. And unfortunately, because Tyler made this timid choice specs as opposed to modest choice specs, Milotic is going to just barely live. And if I had got rid of this Milotic, my Victini would have been able to just come in and spam V-Crate. Unfortunately, that is not going to be the case, as I predict the recover. I bring in my Toxicroak, and I'm going to go straight for the Drain Punch. And at this point in the battle, I realized that all I really have to do is keep bringing in my Toxicroak on the Milotic, and then just going for Drain Punch, because eventually I will take down that Donphan, and then I can hopefully get up my rocks with Metagross and just chip away at his team and then just win the battle. So I rapid spin away the rocks after he went for the Earthquake on my Blastoise. I then bring in my Florges, predicting the Toxic, and knowing that I don't have to go straight away for the Aromatherapy, I'm actually going to go for the Wish, and I'm going to pass the Wish off to my Hydreigon. Now let me pause right here. That did 74% to a resisted Pokemon. You guys know what that means, right? That is a choice banded Victini, which, because I let my Blastoise already take a bit of prior damage, is going to be an even bigger threat, which means I have to keep up offensive pressure and just try to prevent him from freely switching in Victini until I can get off a little bit of damage and bring it down to the point where my Sucker Punch from Toxicroak will be able to hopefully knock it out. So thanks to the fact that I passed off the wish, I can still kind of keep my Hydreigon around for the remainder of this battle as I go for the U-turn, knowing that he would be forced to switch out after the speed drop and the double defense drop. I then go for the U-turn on out into my Toxicroak, and I'm going to go for the Drain Punch, predicting him to bring in the Donphan. And here I was really close to staying in and going for another Drain Punch, predicting the Stealth Rocks. But as I said in Team Preview, I need to keep my Toxicroak around because I know that it will be my win condition. So I go for the Draco Meter again, knowing that he would be forced to go for the Recover. This way I can get a free switch into my Toxicroak and force him to bring in the Donphan so I can further wear it down. And I am going to Drain Punch it as this turn I bring in my Blastoise, expecting him to just want to go for another Earthquake as he pulls out the rest. Now, this right here, oh my lord, I actually got really frustrated when I saw that he had rest. Now, the fact that he does have rest automatically tells me that he most likely has Aromatherapy on that Roserade, because there's really no other reason to run rest on Donphan unless you have something that has Aromatherapy or Heal Bell. And the fact that he went for rest is kind of good and bad. It's good in the sense that now I don't exactly have to worry too much about this Donphan. It's bad because this means my Toxicroak is not going to be able to easily sweep as I would have hoped it could, because this Donphan is back up to full HP, and as you can see, Drain Punch is not exactly a 2-hit KO, and eventually he'll be able to wake up, Earthquake me, and I lose my Toxicroak, which will make this battle a whole lot longer than it really has to be. But I do end up bringing in my Blastoise as he goes for the rest. I'm just going to take this opportunity to go for the Rapid Spin and get rid of the Stealth Rock so my Victini doesn't have to take too much damage from them. As I bring in my Victini, predicting him to go for the Giga Drain, he makes a nice play, goes for the Sleep Powder, and now I am going to be forced to switch out as I bring in my Metagross, predicting the Sludge Bomb. I can easily stay in and just go straight for a Meteor Mash as he brings in the Donphan. And luckily for me, Tyler actually has Grass Knot on this Metagross, which at the time I actually kind of forgot until I looked down at the moveset, which means Donphan is now severely weakened, so my Toxicroak is back in the front line to be ready to sweep through his team. As I go for a Meteor Mash, predicting the Hydreigon, he did predict me to just go for the Grass Knot again, which wasn't too bad of a play. It was kind of a 50-50 there, but I knew Meteor Mash was my better play to do. As I bring in my Florges, he ends up going for the Dark Pulse. I then go for the Aromatherapy as he brings in the Galvantula, and I'm going to go straight for the Moonblast just to get off a little bit of damage on whatever he decided to bring in. I kind of thought he would bring in the Roserade, but he makes the smarter play by bringing in the Victini, knowing that it is a giant threat to my team. And I'm going to switch into my own Victini, not wanting to exactly fodder anything off just yet. And to be honest, I'm very positive I can keep my Victini at this amount of HP without having any worry about his team having any form of priority or being faster than my own Victini, because my Victini is actually Scarfed. So I go for the U-turn as he fodders off his Hydreigon. I then stay in, predicting him to Volt Switch, and I make a really bad play. And I go for the Fire Blast. Honestly, there was literally no reason for me to Fire Blast. I should have just gone for the Dark Pulse and made the safe switch back out into my Toxicroak. But I then switch into my Florges, thinking that the switch in the Toxicroak was too obvious, so I predicted him to bring in the Galvantula. But he actually just stays in and goes for the Safe Skull, which isn't too bad of a play, as I'm going to be able to safely go for the Wish and pass it off to my Blastoise, predicting the V-Crit. That was a Bolt Strike. Honestly, I should have protected. I should have honestly protected. The fact that I switched directly into Blastoise was really bad and a very poor play on my part, as I lose my Blastoise, which kind of sucks because it would have come in handy as a pivot switch in and death fodder later in the battle. So I U-turn out with my Hydreigon. I then go for the Gunk Shot, predicting him to predict me to go for the Drain Punch and actually bring in the Roserade. As I'm able to easily knock that out, this means that I no longer have to worry about the Donphan as he brings in the Galvantula. I don't want to take a Thunder as he makes a very nice play, predicts my switch out, and goes for the Sticky Web. To be honest, Sticky Web is really not going to be a problem to my team whatsoever at this point in the battle. So I'm going to go for the Wish as he brings in the Victini. I'm thinking, okay, I can bring in Hydreigon as he'll possibly just U-turn and live, right? No, I just die. Again, another very poor play on my part. But to be perfectly honest, at this point Hydreigon really wouldn't have served me too much purpose, just because he does have my Milotic, which as you can see cannot be 2-hit KO'd by any move that I want to go for. As I bring in my Victini, this right here was actually a bit of an important part, because I could have gone for the Bolt Strike predicting the Milotic, or I could have gone for the Zen Headbutt predicting him to bring in the Donphan and then risking him bringing in my Milotic, because with him having up the Sticky Web, my Victini is just about utterly useless in this battle, outside of just getting off damage on Donphan and my Milotic. So ultimately I decided to go for the Zen Headbutt, knowing that I should still be able to do a little bit of damage to the Milotic if he did decide to bring that in, predicting me to V-Create. But he actually brings in the Donphan on the off chance that I would go for the Bolt Strike or the possible V-Create, just wanting to fodder off Donphan to get a free switch into like Galvantula or his own Victini. And ultimately I do end up going for the Zen Head, but I'm going to be able to 2-hit KO the Donphan, which is really great. But at this point I'm just going to leave in my Victini for Death Fodder as he brings in the Galvantula. He actually predicts me to switch out, fearing the Bug Buzz or the Thunder, and I'm going to be able to live and get off a little bit extra damage on the Victini, which at 54% I am now 100% positive that an Adamant Life Orb Sucker Punch will be able to knock out the Victini. Now the reason why I didn't bring in my Toxicroak is because Galvantula are notorious for carrying Focus Sash, so by bringing in my Metagross I can get on my Stealth Rocks to break the potential Sash on the Galvantula if he did somehow knock me out with any one attack. But that is not going to be the case, as I live the first Bug Buzz, I get off the Meteor Mash damage and then the Bullet Punch damage, and at this point my win condition is going to come through. I can easily bring in Toxicroak, Sucker Punch, knock out this Galvantula, beat the Milotic one-on-one, and then Sucker Punch the Victini. Now he still actually kind of does have a small chance to win this battle, and that would be if he has Trick on his Victini to be able to trick his band off on my Sucker Punch. But then I could just spam Sucker Punch, although he could spam Trick and it would kind of come down to a prediction game. Although this generation I have not seen a single Victini that carries Trick, because they tend to carry just a choice item and 4 offensive moves. So not fearing the Trick, I'm just gonna go straight for the Sucker Punch and finish off the Victini, and that is going to be the 2-0 victory in my favor. So as I said guys, this was a pretty lengthy battle, but hopefully y'all did enjoy it. And if you did, make sure to hit the like button guys. Much like before, if we can get this video up to 300 likes like the previous post-narrated showdown battle, I would definitely make sure to keep these coming your way, and hopefully y'all do enjoy them. So with that being said, enjoy the rest of your night and or day. If you missed my previous upload, as I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the video, it will be a link in the description, so you guys can go check that out. And with that, I will see you all later. So later everybody.